This before I even knew the rules, before I knew anything. This was the team that I wanted. I didn't know I had to pick like an energy member first. I didn't know like the order. This was literally my dream team, and I was like, I want to play with these players. I want to see what they do. There was a play I could have gone for potentially to get more LG members to this LAN, because if I chose Baskin there, forced Baskin to solo, and then BaRRaCCuDDa would have picked Jeff, I could have got more of my team here, but I didn't think about it until after. So no, it was just Jeff. It's actually Mask, and he was like, you could have brought more people to LAN. I'm like, oh, right. But I mean, it was just Jeff, like 100%. Like I said on the cast, I don't know what I thought was talking about. I really don't feel like Imlito over Yammyn would have ever made sense. Had to pick an energy member.
Yeah, Imlito plays a nasty Geb. Keep that in mind.
So does Jeff. So I knew on the roundabout I was about to get Jeff, and then I mean, Yammyn just made sense. He's an excellent mid laner. He was literally my only option there to choose anyone, so I just went with Yammyn. Variety makes a lot of room for his entire team to perform. He is an excellent solo laner. He just creates problems for the enemy backline. You can watch him and Qvo working together, and they just decimate backlines. His laning phase is really strong. His team fighting is really strong. He's just an excellent player overall. And I keep saying excellent because, like, I think my entire team is just full of excellent players.
BaRRaCCuDDa and the rest of the Juggernauts looked excellent in game number 1. No doubt about that. It's just a matter of how they can bounce back here in game number 3. And one thing really stood out to me during that interview was that he's saying variety creates a lot of space in order for his team to operate. Game 2, adapting jumps in that space and makes so variety can't create it. So in game number 3, do you expect a higher priority pick here for variety, making sure that they can't ban him out like they did in game 2? Absolutely. He had the option of Bologna, instead went for the Ratataskar. A lot of other soliners were taken off the table. Right. We didn't see Robin nor Kamazaz, none of those options, so Cyrus was banned as well. So more of his comfort picks taken away. I'm really surprised they also didn't maybe even go for Thanatos, honestly. He's been trying to lean on that pick since Worlds, honestly, and BaRRaCCuDDa all giggles here still as game 3 is about to start momentarily. These two teams so evenly matched. The two, well, only one of them's a Juggernaut, I suppose, but really when you look down their roster, they are all Titans? No, we have that team name too. All of my superlatives that are kind of mythology related, I can't use because of the team names. Well, you can go ahead and find some of these jerseys at Into the AM if you want to rock out some of these captains. Look, I'm definitely going to be looking at that after this. They all look, man, they look good. They've got some really cool designs. Absolutely recommend doing that as well. Zyrhoes, a close-up of the man who really turned it around in game number 2. Game 1 on the Neath, as we mentioned, it didn't look like that was in his wheelhouse necessarily. The Morrigan certainly is and was huge in terms of engagements there in game number 2. Ready to go for picks and bans. Game number 3, the final game of this semifinal matchup between the Juggernauts and the Minotaurs. Immediately, Juggernauts continuing to focus Zyrhoes with that Chronos ban. How much you want to bet that this next ban is going to be a Morrigan ban? It's got to be, right? Oh, no. So maybe Juggernauts pick it? Ooh, spicy, spicy. Yammyn could potentially play. Yammyn has been known to play Morrigan himself. I think it's got to be a Morrigan pick here. Just keep Zyrhoes off of his comfort picks, but that means that Freya's open, and Freya has been pretty good so far for Yammyn. I just can't imagine giving the Morrigan back to Zyrhoes, but instead Wukong 2 for 2 so far in this set. Trying to make it 3 for 3 is Variety. Yeah, Variety had a fantastic first game with the Sun Wukong, despite almost taking an early spill to Benji's Robin. That Bracer of Undoing, getting him out of danger and keeping himself in the laning phase. Not taking the Morrigan here is really surprising because Minotaurs, they have 2 picks. They can deny JeffHindla, the Terra, and lock in Morrigan for Zyrhoes. That'd be a really big combination for them, without a doubt. Sun Wukong, is there any chance it goes anyone but Variety here? No. It's got to be Variety. We've seen some supports run it every now and then. Specifically, Trixtank comes to mind. I wouldn't really be surprised if iRaffer was maybe... Well, it's on Juggernaut, sorry. It's not going to be JeffHindla playing it in the support role. Sure, and in no QvoFred, Sun Wukong jungle, that's more Captain Twig style, I suppose. The Morrigan is locked in for the Minotaurs. That's definitely for Zyrhoes in the mid lane, Geb for iRaffer in support. So now Juggernauts can go back to the Freya if they really like it, though as I mentioned, I think the Morrigan made life pretty difficult for Yammyn in that last game. But we did also see Yammyn punish the immobility of the Morrigan early on in that game with the slows from the Pulse. So there is some counterplay available if Yammyn wants to go Freya for a third time.
See, I think the first game, picking the Freya was another target pick away from Zyrhoes. Second game, because Zyrhoes already had Morrigan, the Freya didn't work out as well as intended anyway. Doesn't have the same sort of early game pressure that a Morrigan can by simply stealthing around the map and then finding the okie doke stun around a corner.
Qvo has a choice here to make because his two favored junglers, Ravid and Camazotz, have been taken off the board by the Minotaurs. So what is Qvo's third preferred option? That is the question. Serket was the call in game number 2. Don't think that one worked as well as he was hoping. So this time around, it's going to be the Nemesis. Skadi again, likely for BaRRaCCuDDa for the third game in a row, but as I mentioned, could go to Yammyn in the mid lane.
And I like this Nemesis pick because it's an easier opportunity now to find picks on a Geb than a Serket because of the way the protection shred works. You're also looking at that mobility scale difference, whether you're stealing away the mobility and gaining some mobility for yourself. Really trying to lock down this Geb.
Now another pick goes Minotaurs' way. They've got one more before the second ban phase comes in. They've got their mid laner. They've got their support. Could go jungle here for adapting. The bans have really been at adapting. Don't think that he'll get his Hunbats again. And it would synergize very well with the Morrigan ultimate. Didn't get a chance to see that combination in game number 2, but certainly on the table. Could also be his signature Thor. Naja wouldn't be so bad, I suppose, trying to get that early pressure in the jungle.
Thor is going to be the call made from NRG's jungler. I love this pick because whenever Nemesis pops that shield, any sort of form of CC will negate it. You're looking at Tectonic Rift to be able to poke and negate a lot of the damage here. So there's going to be global pressure on global pressure between this Thor and Morrigan. Imagine a Morrigan and a Thor both double anviling of Dawn into the dual lane. BaRRaCCuDDa is not going to have a fun time this game.
Especially with 2 walls that would prevent his escape, potentially. Skadi, no way to get around that. Yeah, just cross him, lock him in a corner. That'd be pretty crazy if we saw the double dunk executed by the Minotaurs in this one. Terra taken away from JeffHindla. No surprise. He's played it both the first 2 games. Looked fairly good on it. Osiris, the ban from Juggernauts. Benji looked so solid in game number 2. I like this idea to try and make sure that he's not on a top-tier solo laner in order to give variety the advantage.
So there's 2 ideas here for Juggernauts to pick for JeffHindla. Number 1, you go for a safe route with Khepri. Number 2, you go all out with a Bacchus support and you're doing damage to synergize with his Nemesis.
We haven't seen Bacchus in quite some time. You really think Bacchus is an option here, even with the knock-up immunity from Thor?
Yeah, why not? You're looking for just a pure ultimate from Nemesis, ultimate from Bacchus, get somebody low, get him out of a team fight, and move on with the rest of your lives.
That's some Season 3 Flashpoint stuff right there.
Yeah.
The old Homie FA Shadow Q combination of Nemesis, Bacchus. It certainly was potent. That was a team that was 1 game away from going to Worlds, but QvoFred, a part of that roster that denied Flashpoint their option at the World Championships. So now Juggernauts, 2 more picks before this pick and ban phase is over. They need their support and probably a hunter, probably a mid laner, unless that Skadi is going into the mid lane.
I mean, the way BaRRaCCuDDa has been playing today, it's been going to him very consistently. Fafnir is the selection here for Juggernauts. Freya is still available, but instead it will be the Janus. We're going to see portals on portals this game.
Interesting. Janus, a character that has really fallen out of favor among mid laners. Why do you think that is?
It's all about objective control for Juggernauts. You're having Fafnir to be able to get the attack speed for Skadi, and now you're also having more mobility with Janus. So you got both attack speed and movement speed covered on the side of Juggernauts.
But how effective is through space and time whenever the Minotaurs can just transform into Janus and get one of their own to counter-rotate?
That's a fair point that you make, but you gotta at least find a way. Sometimes you don't necessarily always look at what the opponents can do against you. Sometimes you have to make your own composition work. And considering Skadi and Nemesis, they don't have leaps if they're stuck in an awkward position against a Thor wall, that one portal coming out of Yammyn could be the difference of life or death.
Not untrue. Xing Chen rounds out the Minotaurs draft. Benji going completely opposite route of what we've seen the solo meta be for the last few months. Going for the Guardian in the solo lane. Basically foregoing all pressure and saying, we're just going to try to out-team fight you in the later stages.
Do we expect maybe even Geb, Stolo, and iRaffer being the one playing Xing Chen? So
last I checked, Deathwalker isn't here, so I have my doubts.
You know, it's not going to be Geb Walker.
No,
It's
no
not
chance.
Gonna, it's not going to be a Genji.
No chance. No chance we see Benji on Geb. I just cannot see it. Xing Chen, a long-time solo laner. Yes, he's a Guardian, but has a lot of solo lane warrior mentality sort of qualities to him. Percent HP damage on the Furious Roar. He sits on ADCs very, very well. Skadi's going to have a tough time getting away from that solo Xing Chen. Here we go. Game number 3, the deciding game, the rubber match between the Minotaurs and the Juggernauts for the right to move on and face the Manticores in our finals later on today.
I forget who ran this Twitter poll asking which team was the favorite going into this Energy Invitational. I think it was actually Juggernauts somewhere at the top, around 70-something%, and then right behind them was Minotaurs. And everyone expected this to be the matchup to watch out of the whole Invitational. It's no surprise that this one is going already into a Game 3 as opposed to the last set.
5-man grouping from the Minotaurs, trying to find a pick, but Juggernaut's the one who decided to put a little bit of poke into the opposition. Hammer onto Benji, sets up the unstable vortex from Yammyn. I already like the Juggernaut's chances because Yammyn's using the best Janus skin. I don't think there's any. I don't think there's any doubt.
You don't like to drop the base?
You know what? The ultimate messes with my aim because he like raises his hands, and I already am terrible at hitting abilities to begin with, so I need as much area cleared out as possible. I just love this skin.
See, I just like to rave. You know, I'm going to Imagine Festival later in September. It's all about dropping that base.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Adapting and Zyrhoes have the better end, at least for the moment, but Zyrhoes taking about half of his HP in poke. Already has to use one of his 2 health pots, but with that Bumba's Mask, will have enough sustain off the mid-harpies in order to stay healthy enough.
QvoFred and Yammyn letting that one archer go. I don't know if they leashed it long enough to tag themselves for experience. That is going to allow Adapting to be aggressive, not in time to steal the speed buff. If that speed buff goes the way of Minotaurs, still level 1 will be QvoFred, and without his own speed buff for the mobility.
That would have been a really bad start for the Juggernauts. Luckily, if you're rooting for them, a little bit of luck goes their way. Also a little bit of secure, just knowing how much damage they have in time as Benji gets stunned out in this solo lane. Qvo down to about half HP, but Benji is able to get away. Slice and dice not up for QvoFred, so no significant poke onto the solo laner for the Minotaurs.
And you were talking about the potential of Benji diving the backline as a Xing Chen. You also have to take into consideration the damage reduction from in-hands that his Furious Roar provides, which means that he doesn't always have to make sure that BaRRaCCuDDa's out of the team fight. He can save his own players by targeting out QvoFred instead.
Again, Adapting tries to get a cheeky buff steal with that Mjolnir's attunement, but not quite in time. Yammyn left alone with Zyrhoes in this mid lane. Both mid laners having the Bumba's Mask, so both feel comfortable enough to try and secure themselves some back harpies as much as possible, guaranteeing themselves as much farm.
Trying to find something happening in the dual lane. iRaffer's not having the easiest task here. Sitting at level 3 on this Geb, it just seems to me that BaRRaCCuDDa is non-stop relentless with this red buff on the Skadi.
I love whenever Caldier goes Fire Dog. Whenever he goes immune right as the tower shots has tracked onto him, so it just sits there and follows him.
He's just trying to stop, drop, and roll. He's learned that in elementary school.
Adapting, coming around the side, has his Berserker's Barrage leveled, so he's going to have a lot of area damage here, given the opportunity. Walls off BaRRaCCuDDa. Purification Beads used to make sure that Permafrost doesn't disrupt his movement, but Adapting off the mark with the Mjolnir's attunement. BaRRaCCuDDa's going to be able to escape. QvoFred got here courtesy of Yammyn's ultimate, and First Blood looked likely to go to the Minotaurs instead to the Juggernauts. An early lead for BaRRaCCuDDa, who wasn't even in danger of dying there.
No fear at all from the captain out of Juggernauts. It's not very often we can say Adapting missed an ability here, but these hammers has just been off the mark, whether it's not been positioned correctly or whether it's just mistimed. He is not having the start that he would like.
But this mid-game composition for Minotaurs is phenomenal. I mean, their early game, not really too much to be scared of. Zyrhoes not going to have a lot of base damage on that 3-aspect stun. Adapting, yes, will do a good amount of damage, but Benji's not going to be too effective. Pandacat a little bit more late game oriented. Once we hit the 18 to 22 minute mark, Minotaurs start to become a lot scarier with their composition.
I would absolutely have to agree with you. So this early First Blood is not the end of the world for them, but keep in mind, First Blood went the way of Yammyn, Season 2 MVP Worlds. He is not going to allow this to go to waste.
And Yammyn certainly good at pressuring with Janus. I mean, not a god that is going to 100-0 you in the early stages or really in the mid stages. Not until the hyper late game does Janus have that insane burst potential. But we see the mobility coming into play already. Yammyn and QvoFred grouping up, going through that through space and time. Got Juggernauts their First Blood and saved the life of BaRRaCCuDDa all in one ultimate usage. Net worth is Yammyn on top, courtesy of that First Blood and making sure that he's getting as many back harpies as possible.
About almost a 1,000 gold lead for Juggernauts off of that First Blood potential here, really shutting down some of the early potential out of the Minotaurs. Kind of wasted a little bit of time trying to steal some of these buffs, which could have been used in other ways to maybe find the farm elsewhere, but it was a slight risk versus reward.
Benji takes a lot of damage, about half his HP. Qvo does have to use the purification beads in order to get out of danger there from the Xing ultimate. I think Qvo could have just thrown that Nemesis ultimate on the Benji right before the stun. That may have resulted in a kill there for Juggernauts.
Possibly, and because of this Janus portal, nobody from Minotaurs is even thinking about coming into that blue buff. It will be a successful invade, and that hurts a lot for Benji because he's playing the Xing Guardian. Doesn't even matter for Xing. The fact that it's a Guardian, now you have to play it without a blue buff against a Wukong that's able to just spam away that cudgel every 10 seconds.
I'm just surprised that in the first 2 games of this set, so much about the victor was determined by who had solo lane pressures. Qvo doesn't get hit by the ultimate, but a wall is good from adapting to guarantee at least a little bit of damage coming his way. With so much of games 1 and 2 determined by who had solo lane pressure, to pick a Guardian in that role really surprises me.
It just goes back to that old-fashioned Season 1, Season 2 worlds where we saw Dimmy in Season 2 put himself in a losing matchup sometimes, picking Sobek versus a Bologna who doesn't have the easiest chance to clear the wave, but having a bigger impact in team fights. This could be a position where Minotaurs are thinking about the later stages instead.
Variety pretty low on HP, but does have his ultimate. I believe he got both little guys there on the fire elementals. Big mean guy goes Minotaur's way. Juggernaut's still up about 1,000 gold right now as Yammyn can't quite find the poke on his Zyrhoes as he returns to the mid lane.
It's funny that you call them the little guys because I like to call them the good fellas.
The good fellas?
Yeah.
Everyone's got a different name for the neutral objectives. I mean, the European teams always have a really weird terminology for things like that. I think it's Energy who called the Oracle Harpies bananas.
The bananas?
I think that's what it was. Yeah, it's they always got weird
Did
stuff.
you ask them why?
They kind of do look like bananas. They're kind of skinny and long, kind of yellow colored.
And they're curved?
Yeah. Yeah, like I had the same reaction as you, like, wait, what? And then I kind of get it.
I'm going to have to like load Smite next time and like super zoom in and like
How
banana-like
are these oracles?
Not totally approved.
Not totally. Wow. No stamp of approval from
Nope.
Anatoly. Usually for the oddball stuff, you're right in right away, but that one.
Bananas.
I
What if you're
kinda
playing some Wukong? I'm going bananas.
going banana? Okay, well you're really on your out there comms with that kind of stuff. I don't know if that is what they were going for necessarily. Minotaur is going for the win here, no doubt about that, because they want to move on to the finals, as do the Juggernauts, as Pandacat, taking about half his HP and poke, drops the ultimate to clear the wave. Jeff forces out the purification beads with a beautiful stun with the hammer. Yammyn off the mark on the portal, but good poke on the iRaffer forces out the stone shield.
This is why BaRRaCCuDDa drafted JeffHindla very early in the draft. The communication and synergy between these two players are just not comparable with many others. And just like that, they got the purification beads going for this Gold Fury Juggernauts 8 minutes in.
Love what Yammyn does there. He positions so that he doesn't tip away. The Juggernauts are on the Gold Fury. And then he fires the ultimate not only to secure, but to give an escape route for the Juggernauts if the Minotaurs wanted to aggress. Variety successfully invades yet another blue buff on the right-hand side, trades his ult for that of Benji, but sure he's not too worried about that at this point in the game. Big experience lead on the right side of the map again for the team that's in the lead. Last game, it was the Minotaurs who had the big XP lead. This time, it's the Juggernauts, 2,500 in total. But again, a lot of that on the solo and jungle.
QvoFred about 1 to 2 levels ahead of adapting. A Nemesis that's ahead is a little scary to deal with. Variety, top on the charts of the experience per minute. BaRRaCCuDDa is able to just keep on track, barely ahead of Pandacat.
Top 3 players in the game right now in terms of XP per minute, all in blue jerseys. Juggernauts on top in that regard, pretty handily at that. Yammyn has really taken that first blood bounty and used it to his advantage, keeping up in terms of net worth with even Variety, a level 11 mid laner here.
Look at JeffHindla on the net worth. He is higher gold than 4 members out of the Minotaurs. He's just being able to, he's actually about to top the chart here, almost over Pandacat. And this is looking very dicey if you're on the Chaos side. Trying to stop the momentum out of Juggernauts is easier said than done.
I mean, Fafnir always near the top of the net worth charts just because of the way his passive works, getting extra gold from the minion assist deaths. He also has that Lono's mask that iRaffer does not. Not too much of a surprise to see him near the top, but remember he's getting extra protections for how much gold he has in hand. So that not only do you get the benefit of just having outright more gold than your opposition, but you're also tankier because of it.
But by not having that gold spent, you might not have the items that you necessarily want. So trading that 1,000 gold for 30 protections on both is another item, I guess, in its own right.
It really is. I mean, I think that's one of the more underrated parts of Fafnir is that he always gets near the top in farm despite being a support, and he always has a lot of protections because of how much farm he's getting. Speed buff invade does not go successfully, but adapting forced up into the ultimate because of the pressure applied by the Juggernauts. Qvo still playing a little bit aggressive, adapting decides he just wants the speed, and he's going to get out of dodge while he still can.
Still sitting at level 9, whereas QvoFred is at level 11. Probably going to be building into what looks to be either a Masamune or a stone-cutting sword, depending on how aggressive Qvo really wants to be. I would expect a Masamune just to play it safe, get those extra protections, and make sure once he's diving that backline, and that's exactly what it's going to be.
Good call, totally, again, on point with the predictions so far in this set. Really impressive play out of Juggernauts here in Game 3. They only have 1 kill. They're up 3k gold right now, just exclusively from 1 Gold Fury and neutral objective and invade pressure. Benji pushed up on the right-hand side. Qvo gonna force out his ultimate in response to that Nemesis ultimate. So overall, probably a win in total for the Minotaurs, not having to worry about that Divine Retribution coming through anytime soon.
But at the same time, Benji expending that ultimate means he doesn't have that CC immunity. He's going to get stunned out potentially from Variety once he gets back to the lane with full health. And we're seeing a shifter shield here being completed by BaRRaCCuDDa yet again. He really likes to not go for the Ichabod route for the attack speed, trying to make sure that he'll just get the straight up base physical power to not only synergize for his abilities, but for Kaldir on top.
Listen, man, 70 power is appealing no matter what physical role you're playing. You always want to get that 70 power item. But Skadi, one of those characters that can get focused down very easily in team fights due to her lack of mobility. Shifter Shield can provide that long-range poke and then provide the protections that she needs up close in order to keep herself alive. Really synergizes well with what BaRRa wants to do on this god. Zyrhoes getting chewed down by Kaldir for the moment. BaRRa knocked him right out of stealth with that permafrost. JeffHindla jumping forward, can't quite find the stun, doesn't even throw it off as through space and time is fired by Yammyn, but no real follow-up to it. Oracles go Juggernauts' way. They expend an ultimate in order to get it, but with the Gold Fury due to respawn momentarily, having that guaranteed vision pretty important right now.
They're just a little bit too hungry for those bananas. Juggernaut should have been thinking about the bigger prize as the Gold Fury, like you were mentioning before. A little bit too much whiff through space and time being used. I like the idea that JeffHindla jumps in, baits himself out a little bit, forces everyone from the Chaos side out, but now we're going to see more mobility on the side of Minotaurs just to try to exploit Yammyn's ultimate being on cooldown.
That's true, but he does have some solid CDR in that build, some from Sands of Time, some from Spear of Desolation as well, so it's not going to be too long till that ultimate's up and ready to go already. About halfway there, rotation coming into Variety's lane, but then they realize that he's a level 14 Sun Wukong with Shell, Bracer, and Ultimate available, so he is literally unkillable.
Level 14 with the Gladiator Shield complete. He's going to be proccing that multiple times if you're ganking him because that works per god. So if you get a Master's Will on 2 gods, that's 5% of your max health and mana returned. And not to mention a cudgel is pretty wide as well, so you might be able to hit off multiple targets.
Multiple wards on this left side of the map. BaRRaCCuDDa overextended and adapting it to make him pay for it. There's the Anvil of Dawn directly into the spin. BaRRaCC spends his beads, but that's about all he has to worry about. Down to about half HP, but this Bumba's Mask off the purple buff pumps him back up to about 85%. Yammyn's ultimate back up now, so this may be the window of opportunity Juggernauts needed in order to try and get this Gold Fury.
No Anvil of Dawn from adapting to exploit the backline out of Juggernauts, meaning that BaRRaCCuDDa, without his beats, doesn't matter. He's purely safe as long as he can see adapting on the mini-map, but look where he's going, right behind the Gold Fury.
Ultimate on iRaffer. There's the through space of time. It isn't going to hit him, but it gives the portals necessary. Adapting right in, and he puts pressure onto Yammyn, but takes more damage than he got. Variety, he's already found the kill onto iRaffer. BaRRaCCuDDa on the run, but no one can quite close the gap. Big damage from Yammyn onto Benji. Perfect stun as Qvo handles Zyrhoes all by himself. 1 HP is Qvo. Adapting coming back in.
The shell!
Big shell! Adapting not going to find it. Qvo finds that kill. Pandacat does clean up BaRRaCCuDDa with the auto attack, but it's still not what Minotaurs wanted.
The chump is down, and Pandacat is going to take a spill. One more in hand. Pandacat actually finds it, gets a level, but it doesn't matter. Variety cleans that up. Variety trying to find the cleanup kill. Or Benji, rather. He's sitting at about 25% health. Unstable Vortex. I think that was, what was that, 4 for 3?
Not even close. 8 HP is 7 more than Yammyn needed.
Did iRaffer die in the beginning of that engage?
He did.
So that was an unofficial deicide. 5 for 3 at the end of the day. However, Minotaurs, they stop the Gold Fury attempt, which is the crucial point. Adapting, he wrapped behind the Gold Fury. However, the Order side kind of saw it. There was a nice little ward position between that red and purple buff.
Well played by the Juggernauts. Minotaurs fought back in that one pretty well. Qvo fell. Benji, the first fight he turns up to makes a really big impact there. Not only finding that, I believe he found the last hit onto QvoFred in those back harpies, but nearly killing Yammyn as well, staying alive throughout that entire engagement for the most part. So maybe that's what the Minotaurs need, even with Variety having a bit of a lead. Xing Chen, you can already see just how well that Guardian team fights. Now another Gold Fury pull by the Juggernaut Zyrhoes, trying to get in, dodges out the slice and dice and the unstable vortex. iRaffer again, the focus. Juggernauts find that kill. BaRRaCCuDDa the one with the last hit. Now again, pulling this Gold Fury down to about 50%. Let's listen to the Juggernauts as they try and get this objective.
That's Thor on me, I'm fine. On Thor, I'm on Thor.
Thor is down.
Xing 10 up.
Xing 10 up.
I'm a free.
Coming.
I'm trying to help you guys out, yeah.
Xing
Who you
10
jump?
up.
Who you jump?
We jump down.
Be careful guys, I'm still weak here.
I can go through this.
Alright. I'm just buffing up. Nice, good stun, good stun.
Force to the side.
Xing 10 stunned.
Go hammer down. Go hammer down.
Nice.
Morgan.
Yep.
Oh, Morrigan.
I shelled you. She's down. She's
Morrigan's
down.
Morrigan's 1
Yep.
Can you finish Xing?
Yeah, I got a stun.
Oh,
I
yeah.
got a stun. I need help on the Xing. That's 4
Yeah,
double tap.
I got you.
Nice.
Go gold. I forced him out here.
Okay. I'm so fucking weak here.
You
Yeah.
can back, Jeff. You can back.
Yeah.
Refer full HP.
I can
Refer
pick
full
up
HP.
Shell.
Right here. I stunned him off. I'm just trying to get out.
Great focus from the Juggernauts. It results in another team fight win, at least for the moment. You could hear some uncertainty, though, totally about whether or not they want to go over this objective still.
And it seems that Benji, though, is taking that advantage. He's not going to allow any safety for Juggernauts to go for this objective. We saw also Raffer forced to go into that sprint at the tail end of that engage. And yet again, this like double frontline here between Benji going in and then the Zyrhoes switching into the Xing Chen with adapting dive in the backline. That is pretty scary for Juggernauts to try to deal with.
3 members here. Variety still has his shell. Pandacat drops the ultimate, try and force the Juggernauts off this Gold Fury. He does so successfully. Now 4 members here. Yammyn waiting in tow. Does have that ultimate, so he can be anywhere he needs to be at the drop of the hat. Juggernauts instead decide to just back up for the time being, still with a solid gold lead, about 4,000 gold ahead of the Minotaurs. And again, this time they've gotten some kills in order to boost that lead up a little bit, but 5 kills to 4K gold difference doesn't really match up.
It's a slow and steady climb coming out of the Juggernauts. It's not like it was in the first game here. We're seeing a big disparity between game number 2 and 3 for Minotaurs. They're still a little bit struggling in that solo jungle department. That's been the theme of this whole entire set.
Mid as well. Yammyn 2-level lead over Zyrhoes so far. Zyrhoes posturing aggressively because he has both his relics available. He's able to do that. Plus, he's got that Geb shield waiting for him.
Just can't ignore that secondary purification beads, little pocket beads, as some people like to call it.
That's it's so helpful for those squishy mages, especially those that have that initiation capability, like the Morrigan does. Stun on a JeffHindla brings him down to about half HP. I think the thing that a lot of people don't really respect about the Morrigan, and one of the reasons she's so strong, is Yammyn actually teleports in, immediately realizes that was a mistake, and uses through space and time in order to get out of danger.
He thought it was only adapting. Once he saw Benji, he was like, oh no, mistakes were made.
It was a joke, all right? It wasn't a big deal. It's fine. I can use my ultimate and get out of here. But Dark Omen as a follow-up to that 3-aspect stun is what makes Morrigan really so impactful, because you're taking extra damage from any ability you get hit by after that initial stun, as QvoFred takes a big chunk.
You know what'd be really interesting is if Zyrhoes uses his ultimate to transform into Yammyn, just to fire through space and time into the direction that Yammyn's trying to run away from.
Dude, that'd be crazy. I mean, we saw some Morrigan Janus transformation shenanigans during the Mage Madness. Emilito got trolled by a double portal that really made everyone's day with how funny that was. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw some more of that here in this game, as adapting forced to jump away. Pandacat uses a leap of his own. Looks like blue buff was secured, though, by the Juggernaut, stolen away. Another neutral objective win goes the Juggernaut's way. Adapting very low. Variety trying to chase him down. Adapting has the ultimate Ox form, the selection, as Variety forces the purification beats and the Aegis. Variety's all alone here against 5 members. Well, the Juggernauts get the Gold Fury. Variety needs to get that bracer off, but the CC chain will prevent him from doing so. Either way, Juggernauts happy with that one. Zyrhoes' Claude actually eats the Nemesis ultimate.
So 3 ultimates, 2 relics out of adapting, 1 member, Variety, Sun Wukong. This man cannot be stopped.
That was crazy that he absorbed that. And honestly, he would have lived if he was able to get out of that CC chain in time. Adapting takes to the sky. No relics for him, but still wants to go aggressive to help out his support. Here comes Zyrhoes through space and time. Ultimate as his transformation is good, but not enough to find the kill. BaRRaCCuDDa gets shelled, and Adapting forced to retreat with courtesy of that sprint through space and time. Almost finds him through that portal. Raffer gets left alone, but Yammyn's going to get credit for that one. Yammyn had the same thought you did, actually fired that ultimate at the portal that he predicted Adapting was going to take.
So close. Guessed the wrong direction instead. A little bit of a coin flip for Yammyn, not going his way that time around, but getting the tier 1 tower, trading a 1-for-1 there as they picked off Raffer at the tail end of that one.
So close for a highlight reel play from Yammyn, but really he's played this game super, super well. 3-0-6. Top of the net worth chart still is Pandacat in some trouble
Double
in the mid lane.
stun.
Big stun from Zyrhoes, but no additional follow-up. Adapting's here, but only level 14.
Benji, though. Benji's right around the corner, finding the knockup, but can't find the last portion of it. Good disruption from Juggernauts, not allowing the continuation to keep the Sun Wukong in place.
Benji has caught up in terms of levels, though, and that is very important for the Minotaurs in order to try and take back some of these team fights. The XP difference has leveled out. What looked like it was going to become a problem very quickly has stayed right around 2,500 to 3,000. And that's been a big reason why Minotaurs haven't really been blown out of the water in this one, despite the gold lead increasingly getting better for the Juggernauts.
As good as some Wukong might be in the early to mid game, Xing Chen in the late is just that much better, actually. So the later this game goes, more favorable it will be for the Minotaurs trying to find their way into this game and close out this set.
Zyrhoes gets pressured by Variety, but goes into the stealth to try and lose the solo laner, and he does so successfully. Juggernauts seem keen on trying to get this Portal Demon while still ahead in gold. It's a matter of trying to find the right buttons to push. You don't want to throw a lead like this, which certainly has that capability, as iRaffer takes a good chunk of damage, down to a little over 50% HP as the red buff dropped by Juggernauts once again.
GoFury will not respond for another 2 minutes, so there's no issue for the Chaos Squad having to deal with that one. Instead, it's going to be the Portal Demon and Fire Giant. Everyone here, or 4 members here from Juggernauts, just to secure their own back left Harpies, while Variety is being that mobile ward on the right side.
Nothing like 4-man splitting some back Harpies at 23 minutes to get you the lead that you need. But really, I mean, normally I think I would probably criticize that play, but with having through space and time, you're really never out of position as long as you're grouped up, because you can get anywhere you need to be really, really quickly. Portal Demon started up here by the Juggernauts, already very low, and it will go down. Minotaurs, no one in the area code to try and defend it. This time, BaRRaCCuDDa gets clipped by Zyrhoes' through space and time as his Changeling ultimate went through, but no real follow-up to that ultimate. No one even there to take the portals. Juggernauts get a free disengage.
iRaffer trying to stop the back from QvoFred as the shield will be forced, but the rest of the Minotaurs are kind of leaning towards the mid/left, but GoFury will not respond for another minute. Variety trying to get Benji off of his tower, but look at this. QvoFred wrapping around. I thought he was about to look for that soloing gank, but instead he's looking for these mid-Harpies. He's going to be met with Pandacat and iRaffer.
Good identification from the duo lane to realize the Juggernauts could have just come through that portal and done the Fire Giant with no one on that right side of the map outside of Benji, who could have been held in lane by Variety, but double stun, double tap from adapting, at least on the JeffHindla. BaRRaCCuDDa a little bit out of range. Panda takes a lot of poke. Now he might have to back here.
He is indeed really poke. Zyrhoes trying to find some poke onto QvoFred, not wanting to get out of stealth quite yet. With this Nemesis here on QvoFred, taking a lot of damage in mid lane, forced to go into the Aegis. I'm surprised we're not seeing any winged blades on the side of Minotaurs, but through space and time.
Again, everyone portals in. No kills, though. Good positioning from adapting. He's the only one with a winged blade, and it helped him in that scenario, getting a boost of speed after being hit by that slice and dice. Yammyn, his ultimate on cooldown once more. Zyrhoes about halfway back to having an ultimate of his own. But Yammyn, again, we touched on it earlier, enough CDR in this build to not worry too much about a wasted ultimate.
A total of 20%, 10 from Santa Time, 10 from that Spear of Desolation. Not really opting to go for any more than that. And as a Janus player, you don't really need more than 20%. You're trying to get as much damage as possible, so that way when your unstable vortexes do connect, which is a difficult task in its own right, that they are going to just start decimating everyone.
And now with the Rod of Tahuti, I think that's safe to say that Yammyn will start falling into that category as another grouping around the left side mid Harpies. Minotaurs give those up. Zyrhoes first one in, stun on the JeffHindla, but Zyrhoes met with a stun of his own. Nemesis ultimate onto the Morrigan, who just gets her ultimate up, now has the transformation if she wants it, and she does. It's the Xing Chen, the selection, throwing JeffHindla out of the way. BaRRaCCuDDa taking an interesting pathing into this one, but a good one if he can catch someone lurking still, and it's Benji caught in the middle there. Benji is able to dash away as BaRRa forced into the Aegis off of Pandacat's ultimate. No real loss there for the Minotaurs. 3 ultimates to the 2 used by Juggernauts, but BaRRaCCuDDa and the squad healthy enough to try and go for this gold fury.
It was a good ultimate from Pandacat, just a zone. Ice Ring being used, forcing Pandacat to jump away. Adapting's in the sky. iRaffer very low, forced to shield himself, landing onto Variety, but it's not enough because Cubo takes out iRaffer to start things off.
Not the target that Adapting was looking for. Already 1 kill goes the Juggernauts' way. Yammyn forces out the Aegis from Pandacat and immediately back to the objective go the Juggernauts. This is going to be their third Gold Fury of the game. Quvo has to use Purification Beads. He will be able to escape from danger in that mid lane. Juggernauts now up about 9,000 gold. They've got double digits in kills, 10-4. Still working in their favor.
Looking very scary for Minotaurs. He can't allow this.
Yammyn!
Yammyn!
Zero's right there with him, but he's going to be able to get out with the slightest bit of HP.
I was almost hoping that Zyrhoes had his ultimate, so he would either decide between going from Yammyn or adapting for that global pressure. Instead, though, it's Variety that's going to get caught out instead.
Shell good enough for the moment. Here comes the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel as Benji throws Variety into the wall. No real follow-up, and Variety's going to be able to escape. Don't know if I'll be able to say the same about Benji. He's being shredded down by BaRRaCCuDDa. Yammyn to show up there as well, but Benji somehow alive for the time being.
Bait.
Quvo gets baited in. Zero's going to be able to finish him off with the Dark Omen. I don't know what happened that allowed Benji to escape, but he looked like he was certainly dead there. BaRRa left all alone. Zyrhoes still here.
Adapting's in the sky. He's going to land right in and clean BaRRa up. 2 dead from Juggernauts, but no Gold Fury to respond, meaning Minotaurs, they need to shift over to the right side of the map if they want this Fire Giant.
Just one by one, these players not keeping track of Zyrhoes,
Yammyn.
and again, he's
Yammyn.
looking for Yammyn. Finds the stun, and there's the Cataclysm. Aegis buys Yammyn a moment through space, and Tom gonna get fired off right into Zyrhoes' face, but not enough to bring him down. The Geb Shield saves his life. Man, Yammyn wanted blood there.
Oh, the turnaround into another turnaround. It was actually Zyrhoes that was trying to be the predator, but he ended up almost being the prey there.
Really, really close. Big shield from iRaffer, big Aegis from Zyrhoes as well. Juggernauts just end up staying way too long in that left side jungle. After the Gold Fury, you just have to get out and reset. Instead, it's a trickling of players in mid and left and by the red. And ultimately, that makes them lose that 9,000 plus gold lead, now down to about 8,000 to 7,000, giving a little bit more confidence and a couple more minutes for Minotaurs to get those late game items going.
That late game potential is going to be a problem, but Yammyn yet again getting poked out, forced out of this engagement, still not with his ultimate for another 30 seconds or so, as the rest of the Chaos side is going to shift over to the right-hand side. They're really utilizing Zyrhoes on this Morrigan very effectively to go into the stealth form and trying to find an unexpected victim.
Unexpected victim might be BaRRaCCuDDa, as Adapting finds the dunk, but BaRRa had the beads. Not going to have him for this ultimate as Xing Chen almost finds him with the Whirlwind of Rage and Steel. Zyrhoes getting focused down by QvoFred on the backside. One more auto should do it. Quvo looking for it, and he'll find it underneath that tier 2 tower. Benji still deep in the enemy backline through space of time. Coming through, it's going to hit 2 from Yammyn. Not enough to find the kill quite yet, as Benji receives a big Geb shield from iRaffer. All of the Juggernauts piling in underneath that tier 2 tower. Yammyn's portal will secure it, and Juggernauts get a dozen in total, doubling the Minotaurs in kills, 12-6.
Juggernauts with their 2 picks, not wanting to push the advantage quite yet. They're not going to dive Pandacat onto that tier 2 tower. They're going to guarantee themselves this portal demon to get a little bit more health on the side of Variety to maybe start up this Fire Giant. Zyrhoes is dead for 15, Benji's dead for 30, and there's no ultimate on the mid laner.
5 objectives, I think, in total by my count for the Juggernauts. 3 Gold Furies, 2 Portal Demons, and still somehow the Minotaurs seem to be competitive in these team fights. Love Quvo there, getting in front of iRaffer to make sure that rollout doesn't get the CC immunity. Raffer already used the Cataclysm. He's dead now. Quvo with the heads-up play with the assist from his entire team, pouring through that portal.
Just unfortunate positioning out of iRaffer. He thought he was safe. Adapting will be safe, but he has to use that ultimate, turning onto Yammyn, his energy mid laner, trying to get him out of that engagement.
Zyrhoes again, focused by QvoFred. It was all going okay for Minotaurs when Zyrhoes was able to play like an assassin, but Quvo shows him who the real assassin is. Juggernauts get the Fire Giant, their first of the game, and continue to push their lead, now up above 10,000 gold, certain to get bigger shortly as they knock down these remaining structures.
Juggernauts are looking really good here. They're about to close out the game, looks like, after this tier 2 tower siege. They're not done in the solo lane. They want to go for a Phoenix. They feel with Skadi being played by BaRRaCCuDDa with Caladir, they have the DPS for this in a 5-on-4.
Pandacat takes a big chunk from an unstable vortex as Quvo goes immediately into the backline, but he's getting shredded. Panda's ultimate not quite quite enough to finish off the Aegis QvoFred. He escapes. Juggernauts try to Zyrhoes up in 5 seconds and has that ultimate. Keep an eye on his transformation. Could go for through space and time. Yammyn has to use the purification beads, but Raffer gets pushed back in by the permafrost. Big spin to win from Benji and adapting. That's 2 spins, but only 1 win. Yammyn, the only one to fall. Through space and time did come through from Zyrhoes as he respawned. BaRRaCCuDDa, the target from adapting, again has the relics necessary, but Pandacat takes down Jeff. Juggernauts on the run.
BaRRaCCuDDa is so fast after he goes on the ice rink. He even finds Raffer while he's still running from adapting. Double tap on the mark this time. You're not going to get away from adapting. They got the right side Phoenix, but at what cost? They lost 3 members. They might lose a 4th here. Variety left alone with Qvo.
The 2 Dignitas members trying to take it 2v4, and totally they might be able to do it, but Variety fell before Qvo could come in and make the impact. Only Qvo left alive as Minotaurs turn their attention to the Gold Fury. They need some additional farm to finish off these last few items. Pandacat very close to that Odysseus bow. BaRRaCCuDDa is completed for Zyrhoes, but could use that Book of the Dead that I think he'll probably go for in that 5th slot. Could be a Pythags piece as well. A Polynomicon works very well on the Morrigan. Lots of options with that tiny trinket.
Where one door closes, a window opens for the Minotaurs. They're able to get back into it just slightly. They're not letting the game get out of control. They couldn't stop the right side Phoenix Siege, but still being super aggressive. Once Zyrhoes respawned, once Benji got a clutch ultimate, he stripped Yammyn away from his own portal right before he was able to go through it, and that allowed the rest of the picks there, because if Yammyn survives there, I guarantee you, he stays in the team fight with 10% health just to portal the rest of his teammates into safety.
Plus throwing those unstable vortexes over the walls, poking people down. It's what Janus excels at more than any other mage, no doubt about that.
And not only that, that was his first death of this entire game, and this has been the most impactful death probably for the Juggernauts.
I agree with you there. Yammyn has been a huge key to their success thus far. That's an Odysseus bow for QvoFred on the Nemesis jungle. I don't think we see that if there isn't a Morrigan on the Minotaurs. I think he's trying to make sure that even if he's hitting the clone, the Morrigan drops, that can cause the chain lightning to reveal Zyrhoes and put that damage on.
And not only that, the attack speed in general is just going to be able to build up that passive of Nemesis even further, stripping away some protections, getting some more power on her end. You're looking like a very dominant late game force out of QvoFred.
Almost Polynomicon completed here for Zyrhoes, who sitting on that second part of it. Once the Morrigan gets BaRRaCCuDDa and Polynomicon, that's where the one-shot potential starts coming in, because you're guaranteed it's 1 stun, auto attack for the Polynomicon proc into the Dark Omen, and that, we've seen how much Yammyn takes from just the 1-2 combination. You add in a poly proc to that, that's a dead mid laner.
It's going to be really interesting to see how that's going to play out in the late game, especially against anyone that doesn't have purification. Aegis up and running. Considering Zyrhoes already puts himself at risk the way he goes into stealth with that Polynomicon, if you're on the side of Juggernauts, you're going to have to be having your volume turned really high up to hear when she goes into stealth.
Crank it, that's for sure. Portal Demon goes the Juggernauts' way once more. Variety into the back line, trying to keep Zyrhoes busy. Really trying to keep tabs on Zyrhoes more than anything else. It's the right side Phoenix for the Minotaurs, due to respawn pretty shortly here. Juggernauts have a choice. Do they want to just wait for this Fire Giant that's up in 25 seconds? Do they want to try and knock down that weakened Phoenix again? Try and get a tier 2 tower to make their next push easier. Right now, it's QvoFred alone in the mid lane, trying to put some pressure onto that tier 2. Every relic available on both sides. Every ultimate available on both sides. And we're at the point in the game, totally 36.5 minutes in, that one team fight, if it goes cleanly either way, will end this game.
You could just cut the tension in this room with a butter knife, honestly. It's just so tense right now between these two players. Neither one of them wanting to end in that 3rd, 4th place position. This is the difference between $3,500 for your team or a guaranteed at least $10,000 in 2nd place.
Poly is done for Zyrhoes, so watch out for that mid lane Morrigan hunting in that right side jungle. Look at how far back all these damage dealers for the Juggernauts are, all making sure that they can't be picked off by this Morrigan, who is just using this Stealth 1 combination on cooldown, waiting patiently for the wrong prey to come right into her traps.
I believe Zyrhoes used that stealth right over that sentry ward, or close enough to the sentry ward to be identified that he was right there. And a lot of these players know just how far this Morrigan stealth can travel before being revealed. It's about, what, a 6-second window or so. A lot of mobility being provided with the movement speed amplification. And this is something that Juggernauts have been playing around all game.
Jeff taken down to 2/3 HP because of the damage off of Zyrhoes stun and resulting follow-up from it. Juggernauts still playing this very patiently. Yammyn, I think, has decided that he's not going to be anywhere near this team fight until after it breaks out. Try and use that through space and time to get there quickly. Adapting takes a good amount of poke between BaRRaCCuDDa and BaRRaCCuDDa. No ultimate quite yet from Yammyn. Qvo lurking in the jungle, trying to get a feel for the situation. He's dashing out of that knock-up root combination. Through space and time clips Benji, but that's not the target that Juggernauts want, and immediately realize that maybe they should just reset after that ultimate usage.
BaRRaCCuDDa forced to run away. He's caught in a weird 1v3 position. iRaffer getting caught between a rock and a hard place with that ice rink right in between. BaRRaCCuDDa gonna get poked out a little bit with half health adapting. Returns back after healing in his own fountain as BaRRaCCuDDa is very low. He doesn't have his teleport available and no portal to go through.
He could have to just go right back to base to heal up, and that's exactly the play. JeffHindla stuck around, just really relying on the passive HP 5 that he has in his kit, as well as that ability right there, the Coerce, which gives Fafnir a little bit of a heal in order to stick around and stay relevant after the earlier poke in this one. I mean, this has been a 4-minute Fire Giant dance where it's been one ultimate shot off and not a whole lot else.
Whoever gets this Fire Giant should be able to close out the game, because 39 minutes in, your respawn timers are looking to be about 60 to 65 seconds. That's plenty of time to be able to start getting multiple Phoenixes off the board and start chipping away at the Titan.
Keep in mind that there are a lot of towers on the map for the Minotaurs to take down. It means that Juggernaut Titan is going to be very, very tanky at this stage. Remember, the Titan getting more HP, does more damage, has more protections, all that kind of stuff, depending on how many structures are still there to defend it. BaRRaCCuDDa kind of caught alone here, and Pandacat's going to jump aggressive. Big Permafrost comes out, and the through space and time going to hit adapting down to about 25%. iRaffer, body blocked, dead. JeffHindla with the kill. Zyrhoes looking for Yammyn. A quick use of both Purification Beats and Aegis gets him out of danger as Zyrhoes uses the transformation to get himself out of danger this time around. Pandacat got cleaned up as well, so Juggernauts with an immediate 5v3 advantage.
Chasing down Benji. He's going to use his ultimate. BaRRaCCuDda's going to pop the beads and say, I don't even care. I'm going to whittle you away. That's 2. Make that 3 dead on the side of Minotaurs. Adapting needs to find 1. He gets a couple of members here. He's going to have to be careful. Uses that hammer away, but in the backside, Zyrhoes with a cleanup.
There he is, always lurking, ready to go. Adapting still getting chased. Has the hammer in 1 second. He gets away from the chasing BaRRaCCuDDa and BaRRaCCuDDa. Zyrhoes being kept busy by JeffHindla, but still not enough in order to give the Juggernauts confidence to get this right side.
He can find BaRRaCCuDDa. He's going to find BaRRaCCuDDa.
Looking for him there, waiting it out. There's the stun. There's the Dark Omen. The stun's in time, and it's going to save BaRRaCCuDDa's life. Now Zyrhoes the one in a lot of trouble. The Aegis gets him out of danger. Through space in time, not going to quite hit, but it gets Yammyn in position to shotgun him down with the Unstable Vortex. Adapting, trying to chase down BaRRaCCuDDa on the backside, and BaRRaCCuDDa using that extra movement speed from the Permafrost in order to keep himself alive. The BaRRaCCuDDa thirst is real, but he still stands. Minotaurs can't quite finish him off.
BaRRaCCuDda's probably thinking to himself, man, this is like another rank game. Everybody's just targeting me here, but that was the risk versus reward that you provide for your team. The way Zyrhoes plays Morrigan, sometimes he has moments of brilliance, but that time around, Juggernauts are adapting to his play style. Everybody is just too close together to allow Morrigan to be an impact in this late game.
You said it, Tully. Whoever controls this second Fire Giant will likely control the game and the set. It's Juggernauts who knocked down the Fire Giant, their second of the game, and now with 5 members with it, all healthy, all strong. No defensive relics for the mid laner or the hunter. QvoFred having both available right now. So watch for Qvo to be the one to try and handle Zyrhoes on his inevitable respawn in about 5 seconds. Right side Phoenix the target. That one is the one that Juggernauts got earlier on in this game, so it's weakened already. quickly brought down and knocked down once more. Zyrhoes has respawned, but no ultimate from him quite yet.
Benji gonna force out the ultimate from BaRRaCCuDDa. Adapting has respawned as well, and I believe this might be a call for Minotaurs to be able to chase somebody out of position. We saw it the last time around where Juggernauts got the right side Phoenix, but they lost about 4 members for it because of the chase. Adapting used his ultimate earlier on to be able to secure that, but this time it doesn't seem that Minotaurs wanted to force the issue quite yet. Not going to go into the Janus to use that through space and time and chase anyone out.
Qvo gets poked out a bit by Adapting. That Fire Giant regen gonna help out the Dignitas / Juggernaut jungler. Adapting forced away by Qvo's presence on that left-hand side. BaRRaCCuDDa still has no ultimate, but will be up soon enough. Benji still waiting on an ultimate of his own as JeffHindla, first one in underneath that tier 2 tower, forces everyone from Minotaurs back and allows Juggernauts to get another tower down. That means only one left standing. That's on the left side of the map, totally. Surprise, surprise. That's where the Juggernauts are heading.
I mean, they're trying to get this Titan at its most vulnerable form, stripping away every single tower, making sure that its protections are reduced, health's reduced, the damage that it does per swing is reduced, and as long as there's a mini wave under the tower, BaRRaCCuDDa will be doing about 200 plus damage.
Looking for BaRRa, and he finds him immediately forced into the Aegis of his own. Yammyn waiting, trying to figure out find out where to throw that through space and time. There it goes. Only going to hit iRaffer. Not enough to find the kill. Benji stunned and a lot of damage onto him. Zyrhoes the focus, though. No surprise as Jeff has to deal with those suns raining down from Pandacat's ultimate. All of the Juggernauts still healthy enough to knock down this tier 2. 2 ultimates on the side of the Minotaurs, both adapting, or excuse me, only one is Zyrhoes. Did use his transformation there. Only BaRRaCCuDDa has his ultimate left on the Juggernauts.
Adapting did not rotate on the left side, and look at their Titan room. There is going to be about 1.5, maybe even 2 fire and minion waves that need to be dealt with. Adapting and iRaffer are there, and that could trigger Juggernauts to maybe go for this left side Phoenix.
Zyrhoes, no relics, so he can, and no ultimate either, so you have a hard time getting into the back line for that stun. Adapting up into the sky, looking for the dunk. He's looking for the right target. He's going to find BaRRaCCuDDa, who doesn't have a defensive relic, and Zyrhoes going to help delete him. Yammyn on the run as well, just able to sneak into the portal in time. He's going to be able to escape, but Zyrhoes still chasing him on the bottom side. QvoFred gets obliterated by Zyrhoes. Stop me if you've heard this one before, but Zyrhoes is doing work in the late game. The wall, still not enough. BaRRaCCuDDa gets through. But here comes Zyrhoes, still looking for him.
I see near death in the future. Zyrhoes is going to chase this one down till the end of the world. There was a nice attempt to stop in the tracks of the Sun Wukong by using the stun and the Cataclysm, but just slightly off the mark. That Tectonic Rift not fully covering the escape path.
Left side Phoenix did fall there, so Juggernauts continue to put pressure on the Minotaurs base, but the late game Morrigan becoming a problem for the Juggernauts. Really, realistically, has been a problem for quite some time. Minotaurs have a lot of time here, Toli. They've got 20 seconds until Qvo and Jeff are both up, 15 until BaRRaCCuDDa is ready to defend. Mid Phoenix falls to about 50% HP. Pandacat still trying to focus it down.
The Titan, look at the Titan though out of Minotaurs. That's 2 fire minion waves potentially that need to be responded with. The Minotaurs recognizing this are gonna back out. Look, it's getting low. It's half health. It's actually 1 fire wave and 1 normal wave. Nobody there.
I don't know if they're gonna be able to back in time. They will, because no one could stop the backs. If BaRRaCCuDDa would have chased that down, that might have been game.
What's the health of this Titan? It's at 2,036.
Dropship potential?
You gotta do it if you're Yammyn.
Dropship potential?
You gotta.
I mean, that's a lot to risk, Toli. I mean, if
no guts, no glory.
If it goes poorly, you lose the game. If you get wiped going for the dropship, this game is over.
All Juggernauts have to wait for is every single relic being available from BaRRaCCuDDa, from Yammyn, even the shells. You need these relics to be able to dive this Titan. This is a guaranteed play as long as all 10 relics are available.
We'll see. We'll see if Juggernauts have the cojones to go for it. Instead, they're going to try and secure their 3rd Fire Giant. I like this decision from them, just ensuring that there is some extra power, some extra regen. They're certainly going to need it here. You could see that the Minotaurs are aware of this potential strategy from the Juggernauts.
Variety is being that mobile ward. He's like, all right, where is everyone? I see 2 in middle. It's both the Guardians. This means there's no eyes on Zyrhoes or adapting. If they're together, that is some wombo combo potential to have to worry about. Variety, though, is going to be able to tank this Titan. The rest of Juggernauts are flooding in the right side.
Here they come through space of time. Misses the Titan, but it doesn't matter. Juggernauts, they're going to the finals. They take down the Minotaurs. BaRRaCCuDDa and company have a matchup with Aurora.
A 40-plus minute game, and finally, BaRRaCCuDDa's team trumps iRaffer. What a performance, going the distance in game number 3. Look at the relief on the Juggernauts' faces.
That was close. The Morrigan, again, coming back to bite against a team that's in the lead. You can never count out a team that has the Morrigan on their side in the late game.
The way Zyrhoes was playing it was just so fantastic, diving the backline, being very sneaky like as a stealth god should be doing, but Juggernaut just adapted to it very effectively in game number 3.
They played very, very well. The Juggernauts, they come away with the semifinals victory. As I mentioned, they go up against the Minotaurs in just a little bit in this finals. Those were both best of 3s in the semis. This is going to be a best of 5s, and if this level of play continues, you got to assume it's going to be very, very high. All of the Juggernauts played well in game 3. Yammyn in particular on that Janus, though, with the rotations, with the positioning, the portals, really impressive play out of him.
Yeah, let's actually get Yammyn on the stage here for
here
an
he is.
interview. Come on in, go get your little headset, stand in between us if you don't mind.
Here you go, my friend. Yammyn, congratulations on making it into the finals. Talk to me about what it was like playing a true competitive Conquest game with a kind of all-star roster like this.
Well, this is like playing with like Qvo and Variety and the Def dual lane.
Yeah.
It's a dream coming true.
It's a lot of fun to watch, I can tell you that much. Janus, the pick there to try and bail BaRRaCCuDDa out of danger in that dual lane at times, I suppose?
What did I say?
You like the Janus in that situation, in part because of how unsafe Skadi can be in lane?
Yeah, I was just trying to help my boy Barry out in team fights, just portal him out, and maybe hope for a lucky kill with ult.
You almost got one. You almost found adapting as he was going through Zyrhoes portal. Man, that would have been really crazy. Just how difficult is it to handle a Morrigan in the late game? Because basically every team seems to struggle with it.
It's you have to like ward on the sides, and like oh, nice too. Why are we watching this? Why am I here now?
Oh, you got
the first
blood. Yeah,
blood.
you got a lot of plays happening here. But tell me though, like you play a lot against Zyrhoes, I'm sure. How, like, are you just bound to expect him going to be somewhere near your backline as Morrigan?
Morrigan is just like kind of impossible to deal with. Like I think we got lucky and got a pick on him once. I think Qvo killed him.
Yeah, Qvo found the one.
I think we got fire off that and kind of just snowballed. But it was still so hard, like sieging Phoenix and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to me. You mentioned this is a kind of a dream come true to play with players of this caliber, but how different is it than your own team environment in relation to that?
It's kind of like different calls, like picks and stuff. But it's kind of similar. Like everyone is just like super skilled. And communicate really well.
I mean, you guys look like a really solid team already, despite only being together for this weekend, basically. So up next, you've got the Minotaurs and Aurora's team.
We're against ML now, right?
Yeah, ML, that's right.
That's gonna be fun.
What do you expect to see out of them?
Super aggressive dual lane, and who's mid for that?
The best.
The best, yeah.
Not the Morrigan.
Is that a sign of fear, or is that a sign of like easy peasy?
Nah, he's pretty good.
Okay,
it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, no Morrigan though, right? I don't know if that's in his god pool. So
Thank God.
At least you may not have to worry about that. Well, Yammyn, congratulations. Any shout-outs before we go to a break?
Shout-outs to Energy and my team.
All right, the team, the Juggernauts, they're going on. Both teams, even the one with iRaffer on it, I suppose. We're going to throw to a quick break as we get ready for the final matchup between the Juggernauts and the Minotaurs.